You're listening to Ear to the Ground, and let's kick it right over to the Diles studio and get a taste of something brand new, released officially probably in the early morning hours of yesterday. Green Chile in the Air, number 9, the annual compilation of work coming out of the local Diles studio with local artists and a few far-flung ones. Let's start this off the way the compilation starts off, with a tune called Better Stand. New music from Jungle One featuring Sadat X and Ras Ely. And then we'll talk to Colin Diles.
When it's your time to go, nobody knows. Moments decompose. So my advice is be alert and stay on your toes. You can't escape the consequences of the option you chose. Some who pose as close confidants are probably your foes. When you're winning, they all flock like a murder with crows. When the curtains close, you're left alone with all of your woes. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, that's how it goes. They love you when the sun is shining, but they're gone when it snows. My point of view is the total gross of the highs and the lows. The world is cold, some succumb till they finally froze. Still I rise above, even though they try to minimize the love. Society has gone insane, who am I to judge?
I know dudes who made mistakes and regret it. Locked in jail and sometimes we forget them. Jail can be when you free in the street. I face lies and deceit, and I've told lies and deceit. I keep it honest. I've tried to better myself, be mentally prepared and look after my health. One day we'll all expire, but while I'm living I aspire to give you this fire. Who me? I'm just a voice from the choir. Don't claim to be Messiah. I speak for the common man who makes mistakes and fixes them. I can. My time span reaches, a civilized man teaches to those who don't know, but I still learn every day. I grow. Yeah.
You know, there's some rock stars who say every tour is the last one. And there's some producers who say every compilation record is the last one. Diles, you've proven yourself wrong yet again, because we're looking at Green Chile in the Air, the compilation volume number 9. And this may be the last one.
Who knows? I always say it, and I feel like a broken record on here sometimes. But once again this year, I felt that pressure, and it came together. I'm proud of it, but like you said, it may be the last. Who knows? I kind of feel like I might change directions and try a new kind of compilation. Yeah, something in a different time of the year too, maybe.
Now, in the past, one of the things that's really recommended it is that you have your own studio. Your producer, you will go on mic sometimes, but a lot of what you're doing is creating these atmospheres where artists step in and sometimes do what they do best and sometimes do something that is completely different from what they do.
Right.
Laura Cruz is, who we know from De Tierra Omega. For me, she was a complete revelation in what she was doing, and she was writing on site. For the last one. Now this one,
have you seen the new music video, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's really good.
I haven't. I know there is a new record from that group on the way, but I haven't gotten hold of it yet. This time you sort of ramped up the number of outside artists. So let's start talking about the people locally who appear on here.
You know, it's mostly people that are really that I work with a lot that featured this year, and stuff that people that I have projects coming up with also this year. Most notably, Ras Elijah Tafari, real good friend of mine, and we collaborate quite frequently. We actually have an EP dropping next Friday the 6th too. So we're constantly working and putting stuff together. So he's kind of a given. I think he's featured on most all of these compilations too, at least since Volume 3. Cymatic too, really another good friend of mine, and we're working on an EP right now. Jungle One, he and I have, it's always a process with he and I. We've been working for 10 years or so, and we've never dropped anything officially, but we're working on one. And Ras Ely, he and I have a couple projects.
And he and Ras Tafari have been on earlier compilations, I know.
Yeah, most of these people have actually. Most of the locals have.
Now the Jungle One compilation, and that's how the record opens. You brought in a really sort of storied performer to work out on that. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. Sadat X from the famed group Brand Nubian from the 80s. you know, he's a pioneer in the culture and hip hop, and having someone of his stature and just experience, he's been doing this for 30 years now. It's pretty awesome, and it's kind of blending that level. He's, you know, what you'd consider like a mainstream artist, especially from back in the day, and being able to put him on a cut with some of my local friends is pretty cool, you know. So to have that chance to make that kind of collaboration happen is pretty cool.
Take the summer off, running off them 100 yards just to come up short. In life, it's a game of choices. You live with yours. It's go time, 4th inches on that goal line. The soul's tired, feeling most hope through the most high. Looking through both eyes, seen the before signs. That's where I draw the line. You gotta go now. I get around them sounds like a needle pressing. Play what's it needed. My heart continue to beat it. The blood pumping for reason. Them blood suckers will eat you. I can't settle for neither.
DC this year as he's part of a cultural exchange program that I'm involved in. We're going to be going to Nepal in March and collaborating and working with artists and performing. So that's how that connection happened. Yeah.
How now what your music can go in all kinds of directions, but how are you like bringing gear to Nepal? I don't know if there's a hip hop scene or a trance scene or a reggae scene.
They have an incredible hip hop scene. It's called Nep Hop even. It's like its own genre. So I've been doing research and studying, and it's really they're great. And the biggest craft, or the biggest what's the word, component that they thrive at is dancing. So they're really good at the hip hop dance. MCing is really coming along. From what I understand, there's not as many producers yet. Probably because of technology, you know, there's still gear and stuff. But what's great is, this program's actually sponsored by the State Department.
You have been involved in that for a few years now.
No, this is actually different. I applied for this program for several years.
Okay.
I was involved in a Fulbright Hayes grant with Reviva that took us to Nicaragua, which is similar. But so this is sponsored by the State Department and a program out of UNC, North Carolina. And what's awesome is they take like 7 different groups of American artists every year to different parts of the world. And you go and 2 weeks you're there, and you're really there to really just exchange. You know, we're not there to teach per se. We're there to learn as well, you know. And what's great, though, is they create a budget for gear. And so I have a small budget that I'm allowed to help facilitate what gear to take. And so I've been studying a little bit of what the last few tours took, and they actually took a machine that I use, the MPC Live. So I'm thinking that might be what we do, and I just want to make sure we give them something that's something they can really utilize, you know. So we're trying to connect with people on the ground there too to see what would really benefit them best. So that's awesome that we get to do that, and then I think I'm going to try and do something myself too, you know, because I always like to do that no matter what. But try to take
bring back some
stuff to give, you know.
I remember the story of you going to Cuba with thumb drives in the shape of green chilies, actually.
And the big thing there was the MP3 players I took.
Yeah.
And people were, you know, I would give them to people, and then they would try to give them back to me, like they just thought I was just wanting them to listen. And I was like, no, keep it, and they just couldn't believe it. Even though they only cost a couple bucks, but they did look like a real, you know, Apple iPod or whatever.
Right.
So that might be good to take there too, you know, just load it full of American music or local New Mexico music, and that could be a good thing to give away too. But
what do you think you're gonna do? Do you go there with the intent of bringing something back? Since, as you said, you're learning just as much as they are.
Yeah, I hope I just empty out my whole suitcase and have a whole bunch of new stuff from Nepal, trinkets or whatever to bring back. Like you said, textiles and spices. Maybe if they let me bring some spices back would be cool. Anything, you know, I'm sure. I just really want to connect, and I've told the program I just want to be of service while I'm there. Anything I can do to help anyone or the people, or, you know, anything I've learned in my experiences that might be helpful. And I will be actually conducting classes for 2 weeks, so I'll be in classroom every day for 4 hours.
Are you teaching like the art of mixing, or what do you teach?
I'm there for beat making per se, but I really want to bring it more as a like audio production and recording, because I have so much engineering experience that I want to just try to really shine light into the whole process and hopefully leave them with a lot to work with.
On the new compilation, what do you think is the cut that sort of shows most the direction you might be taking? Because your craft is always developing. I know that there is a signature Diles sound that's developed that's sort of like half underwater. It's not drenched in reverb, but there's this sort of bubble.
Wow.
I guess.
Thanks.
In your sound. Is there something that we could find here that might indicate where your ears are going next?
That's cool, man. I appreciate the question. Most of what you hear on this record is kind of like a nostalgic style that I grew up doing, kind of like old school boom bap, golden age hip hop vibe, which includes most of these songs. But for the new direction, I think mostly the song with Ras Elijah Tafari, Ja As I Rock, production style is kind of new, and then I'm also doing some new mixing techniques with his voice, and we're even including like auto-tune and stuff, which is not something he's really into, but you do hear it a lot in dance hall and more in even roots reggae stuff. So this is kind of a cool, we feel like we kind of cracked a new code for just a new style that we can pursue a little bit, not fully, but yeah, definitely check that out. And then our new EP that drops on Friday, we'll have a few more cuts that are kind of in that same style.
Babylonian pagan ka Jaja am I wrong and Jaja am I strong Jaja and the salvation Who shall I fear would never be No wicked Babylonian pagan Hey, hear I voice over there In my meditation got my life over there From the signs of Babylon I die over there From them secret plan They want to come and sharpen them tongue Like a sword They aim the arrows it's a bitter word They shoot a lambo in someone that is far But when you see the angel man them have to raise a prayer To the most high Jaja the Father The Jaja am the rock and Jaja am the strong and Jaja am the salvation Who shall I fear? Would never be no Wicked Babylonian pagan God Jaja am the rock and Jaja am the strong and Jaja am the salvation Who shall I fear? Would never be no wicked Babylonian pagan Blessed is the most high Jehovah I am thy strength Jesus I am thy hands before And I am thy fingers to plant Is I am thy goodness and I am thy conscience Is I am thy Jawa Is I am thy deliverer Only in him on Jaja I trust Jaja me rock and Jaja me strong and Jaja the salvation Who shall I fear? Would never be No wicked Babylonian pagan Jaja rock Jaja am me strong and Jaja the salvation Who shall I fear? Would never be No wicked Babylonian system I shall extol thee I am thy child and king And I'm Blim John name forever And ever Every day we're blessed And I shall extol God's name Forever and ever Oh great is Jaja And worthy, oh worthy, oh worthy is he to be praised.
And that's going to be under his name.
Yeah.
Ras Elijah Tafari and Visceral View is where it's like your clearinghouse for all of your projects.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So
another one that's similar would be with Crudas Cubensi, is the female artist from Havana, Cuba. They're really awesome. Had a chance to meet them in Colorado Springs several years back after a show we all did together, and had a little after party at an Airbnb we had rented, and had like a freestyle cipher, and I had my looping machine set up in the living room, and we'd like had a whole other little house party show after the show, and I was blown away by them. It was kind of my first real introduction to Cuban hip hop, and they have really taken the lead on that. They've moved to the United States since, but they tour all over the world, and they've really made a name for themselves. But it's just great to finally connect with them on a track. and the production style on that song is definitely kind of where I'm going in a lot of ways.
Los árboles se secan y la tierra se abre. Los ríos se secan y las noches son las tardes. Y yo de mi parte, que parte tanta tristeza y tanta rabia y también tanta fuerza y parte belleza, el amor para las nuestras. Esto es resistencia, oye con certeza, un mundo peor acaba y otro nuevo comienza. ¿Y qué hago yo para salvarme, para aferrarme y no dejarme, para renacer y curarme? ¿Y qué hago yo para no darme, ni con sangre ni con carne? ¿Y qué hago yo para amarme y quedarme? Y voy a dar este triunfo, este triunfo, este triunfo, te de poder, te de todo, vamos a vencer, arrasando por el mundo lo más. Esto es hip hop, idioma universal. Hey, respiramos. Desde Praga, Luxemburgo, hip hop de real, de puto. Te hace pensar y llorar y cambiar. Interestelar, música letal en el Legend. Yo soy fenomenal, extracurricular. Libertad, pido. Libertad para mi nación Cuba. ¿Cuándo va a llegar que suba? Libertad para mi nación Cuba. ¿Cuándo va a llegar que suba? Te siento, me duele el triunfo por ustedes, por mis ancestros, por las mujeres, por queer, por trans, por gente negra a mí no me van a parar. La cruda nature se multiplica, crece, se va y crece más. Sigo aquí pidiendo la libertad. Que volar desde triunfo.
And that is Crudas Govenci from the Diles studio via Cuba, via the USA. It's part of the new compilation, the annual event, Green Chile in the Air. Songs sometimes produced exclusively out of the Diles studio. I think all exclusively out of the Diles studio. A mix of obviously local producer, but local artists and far-flung artists. Altogether, 9 cuts. And it's just dropped. You can go to visceralview.com or look for Visceral View on Bandcamp to find out more about this entire project. Diles assures me that there are more things to come. We heard a little bit of that Ras Elijah Tafari song, Ja is Iraq, and that is about, I think that's part of the EP that is soon to drop, that will drop at the 6 days from right now, I believe. And you'll be able to get a taste of that one very, very soon in its EP form. And we're also hearing that Diles is up for performing after not being out there performing a whole lot as a live performer, mix master in the clubs. He's on his way to do so probably in the next month or so. May have a regular gig coming in the Northeast Heights. We'll fill you in on that as it develops. But first, let's fill you in on this.
Support provided by Organic Books, an independent bookstore in Albuquerque's historic Nob Hill. Family-owned and operated, Organic Books offers used and new titles and spotlights local authors and poets. Book signings and workshops held each weekend. Complete details at organicbooks.net.
And thank you for that. And this reminder, stay tuned. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we'll be...